a little chant with everybody. It is Egyptian. It's based around the Ankh. Ankh means breath of life, or the key of life. And it is a breathwork practice, along with many other things. It is a symbol of masculine and feminine uniting. So there's a lot in this symbol, even on its own. So you could even just chant Ankh, or even Ankh Sha. Ankh Sha is I live, or Ankh would be breath of life. So even just that on its own is a chant that you could work with. And when you drag it out, the Ah is resonating the heart, the is bringing the energy up into the third eye and the crown. So it actually, and the is kind of bringing it down. So in a way, it's creating a circulation that is heart, third eye, and then grounding that energy. So it's a beautiful sound frequency to play with when you kind of like slow it right down to the individual letters. Ah, coming from here, is going to be more in the cranium, and then the is going to drop the energy, like ground it down into the body. So even just that, you could play with and keep chanting over and over and over again, and it's going to take you into a really profound state on its own. So that would be one. But today we have a new one which just came through, and it actually came through because I've been looking at some of the different meanings and words that they were using in Egyptian, and they have this really nice little combination of things. So Khat, Khat, Khat is body, physical body. Ka is the energy body, or in a way another name for that is the spiritual twin, the energetic twin of the body. And so this is an energy field that is both in and around the body, and it's also an aspect of the consciousness that we can send out of the body. So for example, if you were doing some partnered practice but you didn't have a partner to do it with, you could do it with your spiritual twin. So you could actually sit opposite and project part of your consciousness out as your spiritual twin to then do the practice with, which is surprisingly powerful, especially if you're sensitized to energy. So that is the Ka. The Ba is the soul. And so in a way, you could actually visualize that. You could visualize that as being, it's really weird trying to do this with the screen in front of you, because my movements are opposite to what I think is going to happen on screen. Okay, let me just do it without looking at the screen. So this around here would be what would be classed as the soul star. So this in a way is the connection to an aspect of the energy field that is very much dialed into the soul consciousness. Whether that resonates as true for you or not, just play with it through this chant and see whether it does. The final one is Ra. Ra is one name for God. So when you're sounding Ra, you don't need to see that as connecting to an Egyptian deity. You could actually be sounding to any aspect of godhood or goddess consciousness that you might wish to connect to. So when we put all that together, what we have, let me frame down a bit. It's the filmmaker in me wants a nice shot. So when we put it together, we have Ankh Khat, Ankh Ka, Ankh Ba, Ankh Ra. So let's try that together. Ankh Khat, Ankh Ka, Ankh Ba, Ankh Ra. I'm still learning this one myself. Like, this combination just came through today. I was doing Ankh Ka, Ankh Ba, Ankh Ra. That's another way of doing it. Ankh Ka, Ankh Ba, Ankh Ra, which is maybe a little bit easier to do. Ankh Ka, Ankh Ra. That Ankh Ka, Ankh Ba, Ankh Ra. You might want to write it down. I've got it written down here, then it's a bit easier to remember. I have one Shruti. So let's just do a little short period of trying this out. Ankh Ka, Ankh Ba, Ankh Ra, Ankh Ka, Ankh Ba, Ankh Ra, Ankh Ka, Ankh Ba, Ankh Ra, Ankh Ka, Ankh Ba, Ankh Ra. Now, obviously, you could keep going and going and going with that ad infinity, and I highly encourage you to do that, because if you do that, then you will go into a really powerful, deep trance state through working with that as repetition. Anything you do repetitively will carry you into trance, because you're doing something that is carrying you into a repetitive state. Dunk, 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 dunk. So there's a rhythm to that. You find a rhythm that works for you. You go into that rhythmic repetitional state, and then the breath also aligns into that repetitional state as well. And interesting stuff starts happening. But I want to show you excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. I want to show you a little movement that you could also do with this. So so you could actually do this as movement and chant combined, so you're doing both of them at the same time. And the movement, in a way, is a movement where each movement is corresponding to the different piece that you're chanting about. So with this chant, you could do Ankh Ka, and then you've got the hands in prayer position, and you're kind of pressing in a little bit with that. So you're actually, through the movement, you're actually anchoring the consciousness and becoming very aware of the body. So when you press the hands together a little bit, then with that you're creating something that is bringing the consciousness into the body. Ankh Ka. And then when you bring the hands out from the Ankh Ka, you're extending the awareness out into the energy body. And so you could just simply bring the hands out a little bit, and between these two hands then I'm feeling the energy body, an aspect of the energy body. You could also go right the way out to here, because the energy body surrounds the entire being. You could also do this movement, Ankh Ka, and then you're tracing the energy sphere that surrounds the body. And if you haven't felt that before, then if you do this chant and trance out on it, then you will start to feel it. Ankh Ba. Let's see if I can get this in frame. Ankh Ba would be above the crown of the head. Still having problems with seeing how my hands correlate to that when I'm looking at the screen. If I just ignore that and just think about, okay, directly above, yeah, a little bit higher. Ankh Ba. So there we're connecting with that soul aspect. And it can feel like an energy ball that is above the crown. And then Ankh Ra, we just open the arms. And so then you're just opening to all that is the universe, cosmic consciousness, God, Ra, whatever you want to call it. You're welcome to call it whatever you wish to. So that could be a really sweet way of just moving through this as movement practice. Ankh Kat, press the hands. Ankh Ka or Ankh Ka. Ankh Ba. Alright. Ankh Ka. Ankh Ba. Ankh Ra. So you could do that for however long you might want to. The longer you do it, the more you're going to start feeling those different planes of consciousness. Like in a way we're kind of connecting in with body, energy body, soul, and then God. So it's a really beautiful, it's like we're stepping upon different rungs of this ladder of consciousness. So if you want to try that out, give it a try and let me know what you discover from that. I highly recommend doing it to a point where you are just, like in a flow with it. And if you're not so movement orientated, if you prefer sound over movement, then just do it as sound and do it for a while until you find, this kind of trance-like state from it. You could do it very slowly with each one, like dragging the letters out. You could do it very quickly. So play with it and see what happens. So that's the little share for today. Much love from me, from Bali, and see you again soon.